Hey, so today we are starting a new series here at Michelle Clark. POV, I learned from the kids that means point of view, but point of view from high school, elementary. So each episode will have a different elementary school represented with us and their principal, but also we'll have two students that came from that elementary school. And for the next couple minutes, you'll just hear us talk about things that they've learned, places that they've done, and how things have changed and what else we can do to make their experience, because then they'll be speaking for students that are still in 8th grade, 7th grade, giving ideas to like how do we fix that, and also in high school, how do we fix it for them coming. So I want to start by letting my guests introduce themselves, and we'll start with the principal and then we'll go around.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Williams. I'm the principal at Ellington Elementary School. Glad to be here with two amazing former students.
You're not going to tell that address, home of the, or anything
Yes,
like that?
we are the amazing Ellington Eagles.
Yes.
We're located at 243 North Parkside Avenue.
In the great Austin community.
In the great Austin community, where we have amazing teachers, amazing staff, and amazing students.
Absolutely.
My name is Anaya Parker. Wait, what am I supposed to say?
That's what you said. I just wanted you to say your name. You can say your grade level just in case people don't know who you are.
And I'm a freshman.
And you're a freshman. Thank you.
And a graduate of Ellington.
Yes.
And a graduate of Ellington.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Shana, and I'm from Duke Ellington, and I'm a freshman.
Yes, and once again, just in case I didn't say it, this is Principal Anderson, home of the real Eagles. They are the baby Eagles at Duke Ellington. We are the real Eagles that soar. But we want to get started today and just let's start with you, Dr. Williams. Like, how does it feel to come, and it hasn't been a full year, but how does it feel to come to a podcast and see two of your students that were once really your babies, because they were there from, what, pre-K all the way to 8th grade? Yeah. So how does that feel, Dr. Williams?
Well, actually, it feels great to know that they're in school, to know that they're doing well, and to see that they've matured. Even though it's been a few months since they've graduated, they look well accustomed to high school. They look like they fit in, and this is where they should be, which is great because, you know, we have historically the transition from 8th grade to freshman year can be pretty traumatic for some students, and they end up dropping out. But it's just warming to see that they're here and they look like they're acclimated, ready to go. I'm just excited to see it.
Yeah, so that was a great point you brought up about the transition from 8th grade to high school could be traumatic. So either one of you guys can speak about this, but was it traumatic for you? And if so, how? Or was it great for you? If so, how? Just like, what are your thoughts on the transition from Ellington to Michelle Clark?
It wasn't traumatic at all. It was kind of simple. Just get used to the kids again and people being around you all day and every day. So
It wasn't traumatic for me because I wanted to get out my shell and meet new people.
Okay.
And express myself. So I wasn't really, scared to come to high school and stuff like that. I was really, really ready to go.
So do you think we've given you that opportunity to come out of your shell? And because how many, just if you know off the top of your head, because I do know, but I'm don't want to guess, but how many came with you guys from Duke Ellington?
5, I think.
5?
Right, yeah.
So do the 5 of you guys hang together, or have you guys all found like 5 different friends that all you guys pretty much hang?
We still be with each other.
You guys still hang with each other? Okay. And how do you feel like they're doing the same thing, coming out of their shell, or?
Except one.
I
Antonio.
don't know if we want to say his name since he's not in here, but that's fine. But what do you think? It was just a struggle more for him, or?
No, 'cause that's just how he is, really.
Okay.
But like, he always been a laid back, quiet type,
So laid back and quiet could also mean that that's just who he is, and that's the shell he's coming out of, learning more about himself. And so, speaking of that, what would you say that you learned so far most about yourself? Like, what would you say is the thing that when you think about one word or 2 words that you were like, wow, I learned this about me that I didn't know about myself in elementary school?
I adapt to things quickly. So
Adapt. Okay.
um,
Now, let me ask you then, in that adapt, do you think you adapt to things quicker because you've matured? Because sometimes we don't adapt to things well because we're like, I just don't want to do it because that's not where I am right now, right? So do you think you adapted more because like your maturity level of understanding why you need to adapt has gotten better? Yeah. You want to add anything to that?
I'm starting to be more outgoing.
Okay.
So
You were the shy one at Duke Ellington.
yeah.
Super shy, Mr. Williams?
I wouldn't say super shy, but they were both pretty quiet.
I was always insanely shy. Like
Really?
always insanely shy. I
So-
don't even like being on camera. Like
Yeah.
I'm
That's
camera
what
shy
I'm
too.
saying.
And that's why I'm excited. I'm a little excited because I'm like, oh wow, you guys Shannon to do a podcast.
Well, I kind of tricked them into this, just in case everybody's
Yeah,
listening.
tell
Yes,
us.
this was a trick. They didn't know the full piece of it. But yeah, so let me switch over to you for a second, Dr. Williams. You had like a hard task. Let's talk about that task that they were from a certain grade level. You were their AP, and then the last 2 years you became their principal. Talk to me about how that felt, how you think it felt for them, or how it felt for you rather. And then I want to hear from you guys, like, did you feel like there was a huge change in that, or how you dealt with it?
Well, I think it was exciting for me because I got a chance to see them, through different lens, right? So you see them as an AP lens where I pretty much handled discipline. I think my first or their years, I was pretty much handling discipline because we didn't have a dean. To seeing them in now a principal lens where my focus shifted, and my focus was always how do I make sure that they're ready for high school, because my background, like yours, Mr.
Right.
Anderson, is high school.
Yeah.
I was a high school teacher, so I'm always, and a freshman teacher at that, so I was always looking at how do I make sure that when they leave me that they're ready to take on high school.
Yeah.
And so again, it's warming to me to see that they both say, hey, it wasn't traumatic for me.
Yeah.
I was a shy kid, but I've come around. I learned how to adapt. And so it helps me to know that some of the things that we're doing some of the right things.
Right.
Because we took, again, 2 of our kids who could have gotten lost in the high school. Then I also go back to thinking about myself when I transitioned from elementary school to high school. So my transition a little bit different. I wasn't in my same community. We moved, so I was in a different community, and there was only 2 of us from my elementary school. So I
Okay.
spent my whole freshman year sitting alone at lunch trying to figure out how to maneuver high school. But I'm glad that they've created a community within and of themselves and are able to branch out to learn about different things and to also learn new people and to make new friendships.
Absolutely. So you said something that I want to really see how they're going to respond to this. So I'm getting ready here. You said, so like as the AP, you did more discipline, and you were more like the dean, right? And so most deans and most people who deal with discipline are considered the mean people. They're considered the ones that they're going to take something from us. They're mean. Don't do anything because they're the disciplinary. I got to be hard as the disciplinary, right? And so I want to say to you guys, did you see that like he changed from being like this hard disciplined person to like, now I love you guys. Come on, graduate and be great. Or was it kind of like you didn't even notice?
It was something similar to that because he did kind of switch his personality like a little bit. Like he was kind of more nicer and more like connected to us, I would say. But he was never the mean type in my head. Like,
So he wasn't the mean discipline.
Y'all
Tell me after this podcast the truth of
He
it.
wasn't.
That means I got to tighten up my game.
He wasn't that mean. Y'all would be like, right, whatever. Is that how y'all would do? No, I know.
That's
y'all
only
do it
because
like
I
that.
wasn't like in no trouble.
Right.
So,
I didn't.
yeah.
Oh,
I
so
was
y'all
never
the two
in
that stayed pretty much out of trouble.
I did like
Towards the
2
end
things,
of the school
that's
year,
it.
that's when I started getting into things.
Okay. And that was just because you were starting to just figure out who you were and stuff, huh? So tell me, right now, if you had to just stop, and I'm only giving you 1 second to do it, What is the biggest thing you remember about being in elementary school at Duke Ellington? The first thing that stands out when I said it. Don't start thinking about it. The first thing.
The little games that we had. That was kind of like fun. So it was the jackets. We had these little games that we'll start, even though we weren't supposed to do it. But it was fun.
That's when you weren't doing a good job as a
It was
disciplinary.
fun. Okay,
So tell me about what is it called? The jackets?
Okay, so
Okay, tell me
first
about the
one
jackets.
Was the jackets. So people would take off their jacket and go outside in the cold. We'll run up to somebody, swing like the hood at them, and then just run around swinging the hoods at people.
But it's cold though, right?
Yeah.
And
It's a
y'all
little
didn't have a coat on.
No.
Okay.
We used to do that with the book bags too.
What'd y'all do with the book bags?
We had to take our book bags off and throw them at each other.
What?
Until it was
Y'all
a
sure y'all had a dean a disciplined person over there? Because now I don't think it was Mr. Williams.
This was when I was principal, right? This was last year. You talking about last year? You talking about?
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah,
Oh,
this was
last year. Okay.
It was this day.
That's when he was nice. So y'all can get away with more than y'all got away with before, right?
I wouldn't say that, but
So tell me, like, did you guys be like, today we doing book bag throws, or y'all it just happened?
We just start.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like two people just randomly started. But all right, come on, y'all. And then it just
Basically.
yeah.
I just don't get that because I would be like, it's cold. I'm not throwing my coat.
Well, it has started in the warm, so then it got to the cold part.
When y'all got to the cold part, y'all
Yeah.
still kept going because
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Dr. Williams, what you got to say to this?
We don't condone that kind of behavior at Duke, but you know what we've come to learn is that students, just like when we were in school, we created games and are quick with it and could do it sometimes without adults catching on to it. But then when the adults catch on to it, you know, they get in trouble. But overall, I can say that they were a pretty good class.
And it actually sounds like fun until somebody gets hurt, of course.
Right.
But it actually sounds. So was it just all the 8th graders that did it, or was it like the 7th joined in, or
It was only the 8th, really.
Only the 8th grade.
Oh, so y'all had already developed y'all personality. So, Mr. Williams, if you had to say the one word that would describe their 8th grade class, what word would you use?
Roller coaster. But we had more ups than we did. We did down points or twists and turns. But, you know, as you talked about developmental and students developing in 8th grade, and what we try to understand is that they go through these different spurts of behaviors and activities as they're trying to figure out who they were.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of good times, a lot of good points. And then we had a lot of points where we had to, you know, provide discipline and, you know, take away some privileges.
That's everywhere.
So they can understand that when they go to high school, that some of these games is just not going to play out the way they think they are, or that you playing a game, it starts off as a game until somebody gets hurt or somebody gets serious.
Absolutely.
And then it becomes a fight. So it was in those instances where we had to start to take away privileges that we didn't want to, but at what point do we teach them responsibility and accountability?
Yeah. And to be honest, these two, I think you guys did a magnificent job doing that. They're like awesome. So we picked on Duke Ellington, so now I'm going to pick on Michelle Clark. One thing that you guys sticks out to you with Michelle Clark. We're in November? So they've been here August, September, October, November. Did you guys come to Freshman Connection?
I came for 1 week.
Oh, you a Freshman Connection dropout. No. So give me one thing that you remember about that's right now from your freshman year that you were like, I remember this about Michelle Clark, my first year. You could say meeting that great principal. I won't be mad. No, I'm joking. I got yours, but I don't want to say it.
I know what you're finna say too. That was gonna be my answer too.
Okay, go ahead, give it, and I'll see if I'm right.
Probably the people here. That was like the highlight of it, I guess. Yeah, the people.
So you want to expound more on the people, or you want me to?
You know.
Okay. Don't.
No, don't.
Because they might be listening. Okay,
I just don't want to in general.
Okay, I won't expound on it. What would you like to throw in?
Basically, it's the same thing.
Yeah. just learning the people and all that. Because I would say this too, Dr. Williams, is that we get kids from over like 50 different schools. And so in getting that, you get different groups from charter, from definitely public, and we've gotten kids from out of state that have moved here. And so what happens is it becomes a melting pot of then trying to bridge all of those together and say, okay, now y'all a new family. And so I guess my last question that I would ask you guys is, when you become 8th graders, you are top dog in that school, right? You are the man, you are the woman, you the one that everybody's like, that's an 8th grader, that's an 8th grader, right? And then when you get to high school, you're like at the bottom of the list again, because there's other people above you and they're like, oh, those are the seniors. You could tell those are seniors. So talk to me about what that felt like.
Felt weird because really these higher upperclassmen were more unmature. So, these people would come up to me like, bro, you a freshman, like this and that. I'm like,
trying to act like they wanted you to know that they were upperclassmen.
Like 3 months ago, you was just in my same position. So
right. So the deal with that is nobody ever remembers that. So like, but I'm a sophomore now. I always say to them, yeah, but remember last year you were crying like a baby and they're like, no, but I'm sophomore now. So they don't get it. But you guys come in and make me feel like I'm older now, like I'm the bigger brother now, because y'all the new kids, and I was the new kid at first, but now y'all the new kids, and so I'm better now, right?
Yeah.
What would you like to add to that? You don't have it yet. So let me throw this last. Are you guys on any sports?
No.
Are you thinking about a sport? All these sports we done got?
Yes, I've been thinking about track and field.
Right. You didn't want to do wrestling? This is our first year doing wrestling.
I want to, but I don't like the costumes. Like, I look weird.
I don't think we call them costumes. I think they're called uniforms.
Well, the uniform.
But
that's
what, I shouldn't say CPS, but that's what they make them wear. So I get it. I totally get it.
I look like I like something.
That's still part of your shyness yet right now. So have you been to any of the practices though? Okay. To the wrestling practices?
No.
Okay. So I would say talk to Mr. Chu, find out when the next wrestling practice, and just see like how it is. Like I went over there and I was like, oh my God, this is way heavy on me right now, because they really into it. So I would say try that. What sports you thinking? And it doesn't have to be a sport. It could actually be some of the clubs. We have debate. We have academic decathlon. I can go down the list of those too.
I was thinking about bowling.
It's already started. Did you get on the team?
Everybody keep doing bowling.
Everybody keep doing bowling?
Yeah.
So bowling, Monday or Tuesday was their first game. So you need to check in so you could get in that. Bowling started. It's boys and girls bowling season. So make sure you guys don't forget that. Mr. Williams, Dr. Williams, being here with us, give us some departing words that, first about Duke Ellington, but then about like where you would like to see these guys. We probably need to come back in 4 years, right? And then be like, they're seniors now, man. But give us some departing and maybe some wisdom that you used to say all the time or to these guys.
So about Duke Ellington, we really
this is where
are
preaching
working.
starts. He's getting ready to start preaching. Right?
I
was getting ready to get the organ going.
I'm not going to preach. At Duke Ellington, we're really working to prepare our students for high school.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a few things that are different this year that we didn't do with them, and to make sure that they're able to transition from class to class. Like we're getting rid of, the single lines and giving them space to transition.
What? Look at their face. What?
Right.
Go ahead, say it in the mic. What?
Every time somebody leaves the school, they always do the best thing. Like, why do y'all always do that?
But did you guys ask to stop having to be in line when you were there?
I've been saying that since I was in pre-K. Stop the line stuff.
And nobody will listen to you. Well, no, that means they
The
listen,
learn
and that's why
thing.
they're doing it now.
We're listening. We're trying to make.
See,
We're trying to
that's
make
what's
sure.
happening. They
7
listen.
years.
You should always want to leave a place and make sure that it's better than what you left. And so you all left such a great impression, and we taken some of the things that we learned from you and what we know as best practices to make it better, so that when you have the new freshmen that come in this year, they have an even better experience than what you had.
But 10 years later, though.
Ah,
10 years later. I ain't been
10
at
years
Duke
later.
10 years. I'm going into my third year as the principal at the Duke. So that's
ahead.
what we're about.
Yeah.
Just providing opportunities, whether it's sports, after school, academic, to make sure that they're able to acclimate into high school. That's very important for us. And the parting words that I will leave for the freshmen here, these two amazing freshmen, is this is your freshman years of your foundation, right?
absolutely.
It can make or break you. So, build great relationships, great friends, but also study hard. And I know you're probably tired of hearing that, but it is. Your GPA in freshman year sets you up. And if I give a real quick story, not going to preach a quick story, I remember my freshman year, I got a C in algebra on my first report card. I took it to my pastor, and my pastor said, "Do you need tutoring?"
Did
I'm
I
like,
tell
"No,
you he
I don't
preaches?
need
Didn't I say
tutoring.
you're a preacher?
I don't need tutoring. I'm going to pull this up." And so what I did was I pulled that grade up. And I also remember the first semester when we got ranks and GPAs, and I was like number 17 or whatever number that was. And I told my friends, "No, I'm going to be one day. I'm going to be number one." And they laughed at me like, "How you going to move from 17 to number one?" But I finished at number 3, and I pretty much had a full ride to college. I walked away with my undergrad with maybe less than $10,000 in loans that were all forgiven because I went to be a teacher. So I say that everything you do from this point forward is setting you up for success and what you want to be, whatever you truly desire to become when you are an adult. So just take it serious, have a lot of fun with it, but also when it's time to study and hit the books, do that and do well, be well, because I'll leave you with this. As I said in our mantra, you have the power to change the world.
Wow, that was like an eagle view. Wow. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, but I'm leaving it to you guys to have the last word. So last words either to myself or to Dr. Williams or to both. Your last departing words, or just to the audience that are listening.
Listen more than you speak.
Okay?
Practice make perfect.
Practice makes perfect. I appreciate you guys so much for doing this with me. Once again, this is Principal Anderson at Michelle Clark. We were graced with the presence of Dr. Williams from Duke Ellington. I really didn't know y'all was home of the Eagles, because that's what, we're the home of, our Eagles probably look different, but home of the Eagles, where we had them eaglets that come over and now they become some great Eagles here at Michelle Clark. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for being with us, and look forward to the rest of our POVs from elementary to high school. They're coming out each week. So listeners, be prepared to hear something, because your school might just be next.